It isn't just the sacred town of Joshimath in Uttarakhand, but other towns too. In fact, along a 200-kilometer distance where walls of homes have begun to show cracks. Who's responsible? I'm Barkha Dutt, you're with the Mojo Story. Our special broadcast today takes you on the ground in Uttarakhand, where our team is traveling through the state to look at what is emerging as the Char Dham crisis. Joshimath, of course, is the most vulnerable. The Chief Minister of Uttarakhand has ordered the evacuation of 600 people, and that is ongoing. But now other towns too, places near Rishikesh, places in Uttarkashi, are witnessing cracks that are appearing in the walls of homes there. The NTPC, India's major public sector company, is denying that its construction projects are the cause. But over many years now, warning signs have been sounded and ignored. Remember, it was only in 2021 when flash floods and a cloudburst caused devastation. And here we are again in the beginning of 2023. Why are these warning signs being ignored? What is responsible for what's happening? And how can it be stopped? Remember, Joshimath is not just a place of deep religious significance, it's also strategically important. It is brigade headquarters to the Indian Army and a major hub for the ITPP. Let's introduce our guests on the program today as we look at this Char Dham crisis. Joining us on the program today from the Congress is Garima Dasoni, the spokesperson of the party. Good to see you, Garima ji. Also joining us is geologist Professor S.P. Sati. He has studied several of the construction sites in the area and will talk about what is the link, if any, to the devastation or the potential devastation that we could see this time around as well. Also joining us is Vaibhav Kala. Vaibhav runs an adventure sports company just off or very close by to Rishikesh, Aquaterra Adventures, and he'll give us a first-hand perspective on the ground on what he's seeing there. Also joining us from the BJP is Kishore Upadhyay. Kishore Upadhyay ji is a pravakta, a spokesperson, and a legislator of...
just
I'm sorry. Ji Kishore ji.
पहले कहा मैं जो हिमालय बचाओ आंदोलन और वनाधिकार आंदोलन है उसकी तरफ से हूँ। बीजेपी के हमारा पैनल है, उसमें से आप बात करिए। जो मैं हिमालय पर मेरा काम है, मैं उसकी तरफ से जो है आपके बीच में मैंने पहले इसको साफ कर दिया था।
अच्छा, हम वो आपका डेजिग्नेशन बदल देते हैं, सुमित प्लीज बदल लीजिए। किशोर जी, thank you. And also joining us is well-known environmentalist and water expert Himanshu Thakkar. Thank you very much, all of you. Let me actually start with you, Vaibhav, as a non-political voice on the ground. Tell us a little bit about what you're seeing. The headlines have been all about what is happening in Joshimath. You are near Rishikesh or a little ahead of Rishikesh, and you have been talking about the fact that it isn't just Joshimath. Homes are now showing these kind of cracks even where you are. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're seeing?
Thanks, Barkha. So, the railway line is running 125 kilometers from Rishikesh to Karnaprayag. There's a countdown clock at Rishikesh station that shows 2024 as the kickoff date. I think what is happening is wherever the tunnels are going through the mountains, because of the complete lack and absence of any geological surveys that maps mountain aquifers, which hold water, which form springs, which supply villages and local populations. And Garhwal is sparsely populated compared to other parts of India, and that remains the only source of natural water for villages, for fields, for families, for homes. The train tunnel is pretty much dynamiting its way through, and I was at a meeting this afternoon, and yes, dynamite is being used, and these are very, very young mountains. And as the tunnel goes up the valley towards Karnaprayag, villages, hamlets are losing their primary water sources. So what I'm seeing is a huge absence of water in villages. There's just no water. It's drying out. Springs that have flowed for hundreds of years are absolutely dry. And the pattern is the tunnel. Wherever the tunnel is going, this is happening. But this is not a new phenomenon, Barkha. Hydro projects in Kumaon, I remember villages were running out of water in the Goriganga Valley in 2013. So yeah, there is a direct correlation between this sort of unplanned development and what we are seeing now.
सहमत हैं कि ये जिस तरह की किशोर जी, क्या आप इससे सहमत हैं कि जिस तरह की कंस्ट्रक्शन एक्टिविटी बड़े पैमाने पे हो रही है, आप नेता भी हैं लेकिन आप हिमालयन आंदोलन एक मूवमेंट से जुड़े हैं, तो आप क्या मानेंगे कि जिस तरह की कंस्ट्रक्शन एक्टिविटीज हो रही हैं, चाहे वो चार धाम रोड की वाइडनिंग हो, चाहे वो एनटीपीसी का प्रोजेक्ट हो धौली गंगा पे, चाहे वो बीआरओ का हिलांग पास पे जो प्रोजेक्ट है, वो गिवन द हिस्ट्री ऑफ उत्तराखंड, सीज्मिक जोन है, लैंडस्लाइड जोन है, रैम्पेंट कंस्ट्रक्शन एक्टिविटी है, अब वो रोकी गई है, क्या आप मानेंगे कि उसका भी एक लिंकेज है? किशोर भाई।
देखा जी, अभी ठक्कर साहब, मैं उनको बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूँ कि उन्होंने बहुत सी बातें यहाँ पर रखी हैं, लेकिन मैं एक बात नहीं समझ पा रहा हूँ कि जो रेलवे लाइन जा रही है गौचर तक या कर्णप्रयाग तक, उसका जोशीमठ का जो अभी विषय है, उसका जोशीमठ विषय से क्या संबंध है? पहली बात तो मैं बहुत ही विनम्रता पूर्वक ये कहना चाहता हूँ। मैं दूसरी बात ये कहना चाहता हूँ कि मैं जोशीमठ जो है वो चिपको आंदोलन की जन्मभूमि भी है। मैं अभी जब गौरा देवी जी का जन्मदिन था, ये कोविड से पहले, मैं वहां गया था और उस समय भी ठीक ऐसी स्थिति थी वहां। और 1976 या 77 में पहली बार उत्तर प्रदेश सरकार ने जोशीमठ के बारे में एक कमेटी बनाई थी और उस समय भी इस तरह की स्थिति पैदा हुई थी। मुझे ये लगता है कि हम हिमालय को सही ढंग से समझ नहीं पा रहे। मैं तो वही हिमालय में पैदा हुआ, उसकी तासीर को समझता हूँ किस तरह की स्थिति है, और मुझे ये लगता है कि अगर हिमालय को हमने ढंग से नहीं समझा, उसकी जो कैरिंग कैपेसिटी है जोशीमठ टाउन की, मैं नई टिहरी में रहता हूँ, नई टिहरी की या उसके आसपास के जो इलाके हैं, आज से नहीं बहुत पहले से, जब लगभग 19वीं सदी में जब उत्तरकाशी का भूकंप आया, उसके बाद मालवा का आया, अभी जो है उसके बाद ये 90 के दशक में उत्तरकाशी वाला आया, फिर अभी रिसेंटली जब आपका 2013 में आया, और अभी इन्हीं में जो कुछ हुआ, मैं उससे कुछ दिन पहले वहां था। मेरे ख्याल से हमको हिमालय को समझना चाहिए और उसके अनुसार अपनी नीति बनानी चाहिए। मैं बहुत समय से हिमालय के लिए एक नीति जो सतत समावेशी विकास की नीति है, उस पर काम कर रहे हैं।
ये किसकी गलती है कि जो नीतियां बनती हैं, जो पॉलिसी बनती है, वो नेता लोग नहीं समझ पाए या ब्यूरोक्रेट्स नहीं समझ पाए? या
बरखा जी, मैं बहुत नजदीक से, आप जहाँ पहले काम करती थी उससे भी जुड़ा रहा। एक बार प्रणव राय मेरे साथ आ रहे थे मसूरी, एक ही उसमें थे हम, रेल में। वो उस समय टाइगर बचाने वाला आंदोलन चला रहे थे, आपके उसमें आता था वो एनडीटीवी में, किससे उसको बचाओ, टाइगर बचाओ। मैंने उनसे कहा, मैंने कहा भाई पहले हिमालय बचाओ, हिमालय की आप जो है उसका क्या महत्व है। और गरिमा ना मीडिया समझ रहा है, ना राजनीतिक दल समझ रहे हैं, ना सामाजिक कार्यकर्ता समझ रहे हैं, और मुझे ये लगता है कि पर्यावरणविद भी नहीं समझ रहे हैं। आज आपने अच्छे मौके पर ये डिस्कशन रखा है। आज सुंदरलाल बहुगुणा जी का भी जन्मदिन है। उन्होंने और मैंने जम्मू कश्मीर से लेकर के अरुणाचल प्रदेश तक हिमालय बचाओ, जल बचाओ, जीवन बचाओ, जंगल बचाओ, उसमें बड़ा काम किया।
ये बहुत अच्छी बात है कि आपने काम किया, लेकिन मैं तो ये समझना चाहती हूँ कि अब आगे क्या होना चाहिए। ये अब एक डेंजरस सिचुएशन है। मैं गरिमा जी के पास जाती हूँ, आपके पास भी वापस आऊंगी। आप ये मानेंगे तो सही किशोर जी की एक डेंजरस सिचुएशन है।
आप देखिए, बिल्कुल है, और आपने बहुत अच्छी बात कही है। मैं कह रहा हूं कि हमको सतत समावेशी विकास की नीति मध्य हिमालय के लिए बनानी चाहिए, उस पर जो है काम करना चाहिए।
जी, अब मैं गरिमा जी को लाना चाहती हूँ। पॉलिसी स्पेसिफिक टू द वल्नरेबिलिटी ऑफ द हिमालयाज। गरिमा जी, आज के दिन कांग्रेस निशाना बना सकती है बीजेपी की सरकार को, लेकिन these warnings have been ignored actually for decades, and this is a rotating door government model in Uttarakhand for the most part. This time of course 2 consecutive governments of the BJP, लेकिन कांग्रेस का भी अगर पॉलिसी ठीक नहीं, नीति ठीक नहीं, तो उसमें कांग्रेस का भी दोष है। आज के दिन आप क्या बोलेंगे Garima?
See, Barkha, with due regards to Mr. Kishore Upadhyay जी, यहाँ जो उन्होंने सवाल किया कि कर्णप्रयाग रेलवे लाइन का क्या रिलेशन है मैं समझ नहीं पाया. He has answered the question himself. He said the carrying capacity of Joshimath. So we are talking about the carrying capacity of Karnaprayag also. If the train will come there, will it be able to, take the vibrations of the? That is why since so many years there was no railway tracks in Uttarakhand, because Uttarakhand has different, geological concerns. And as you said, that there was a Mishra committee, there was a committee in 2013 after the Kedarnath disaster, which was constituted by the Supreme Court. Then again in 2019, a committee was constituted, and the head of the committee was Dr. Ravi Chopra. I spoke to him personally, and he says that everybody, it is the sheer ignorance of the recommendations of the committees. He said that we in 2019 said that the Helang and Marwari bypass shouldn't be constructed. If at all it is very necessary, then please keep it a one-way track, that the people going to Badrinath should go from Joshimath, and while coming back, they should come from Helang Marwari bypass. It was overlooked. And a very interesting thing I'll tell you, that the then MLA of that area, Mr. Mahendra Bhatt, is holding a very important position now. He's the state BJP, president for BJP in Uttarakhand now. So all the time during his tenure as an MLA, he was trying to polarize the society of Uttarakhand. During the Corona period, he used to post such absurd comments that please see Hanumanji's photo in a barber shop and then enter the barber shop. Please see if a god or goddesses are there in the meat shop and then enter it. So very wittingly, Barkha, just a sec. Very wittingly.
What does that have to do? What does that have to do with what's happening today?
I am telling you, very wittingly, a senior journalist of highly reputed newspaper has put it on a Facebook. He's posted that Joshimath has come out of syllabus for Mahendra Bhatt, because throughout he was talking about the meat sellers, the rediwalas, the feriwalas, the barber shops. So for 5 years, there was a BJP MLA from that state. These signs have occurred since 1.5 years now. What were they doing? 47 MLAs, 5 MPs, 1 central minister. What were they doing?
Okay.
PM Modi, we are told that PM Modi is highly concerned about Joshimath, and he's keeping a close eye on Joshimath. Not a tweet, not a single line to show solidarity or to show sympathy or empathy towards the localites there. I mean, what is this? You can't even send a message to the local people over there. He has been all over the newspapers that he had a telephonic call to Pushkar Singh Dhami.
Garima, let me come in here. You've spoken about Ravi Chopra, and I think it's important to explain to our audience who Ravi Chopra is. Now, Ravi Chopra was an expert who was heading the Char Dham committee, and in his resignation letter, he's had blistering criticism. In fact, can we change to the Ravi Chopra letter, to the Ravi Chopra resignation letter, which he has been talking about as he resigned from that committee? He said he had to listen to his inner conscience. He didn't agree, in fact, with the policies that were being followed. While we bring that letter up, Himanshu Thakkar, if I can bring your perspective in at this point. Himanshu, please go ahead. How bad is the situation, and who is responsible for it?
Well, the situation is reached almost irreversible situation in most parts, and the writings were very much on the wall, not only since 2009 or in 1974, but even by the British commissioner who established Joshimath. Even he had said that Joshimath is on a landslide debris and there should be no major infrastructure project taken up. So all the Ministry of Environment officials who had cleared these projects, whether it is the Tapovan hydropower project or Vishnugad Pipalkoti hydropower project, or people who have cleared the highway project, including Gadkari's ministry and the Ministry of Environment Forest. And even, see, the writing was all even in 2021, 2009, every 2013, 2016. Every time there has been disaster, but we don't learn lessons. Our system, our governance system has no place for accountability. Today, the question is, why was this project cleared? Did the environment impact assessment of the project look at these issues? Did the expert appraisal committee who cleared this project did look at the issue? Did the National Environment Appellate Authority, which rejected the petition against the project in 2005, way back, did it look at it? We had written to the Ministry of Environment and Forest in way back in September 2004, saying there has not been even a proper EIA or public consultation for this project, and this must be held again. And that was the opinion even of the expert appraisal committee at that time. Nobody listens. So, and there is nobody to answer, when they go back. Even the Supreme Court of India, unfortunately, when Atul Sati filed a petition after the February 2021 disaster, he was actually fined for filing a petition, holding the people accountable for that disaster.
Yeah.
Remember, in February 2021, 200 people had died. And where exactly they had died? They didn't die anywhere else, but most of them died at the hydropower project site. So, but the NTPC was never asked why were these people got cleared. Yeah. What did you do in terms of the safety of the people, in terms of the early warning system, in terms of the actual warning which was already available when the disaster occurred?
And Himanshu,
minutes earlier.
And we seem to have forgotten that it was only in 2021, in fact, that you had workers trapped. If you remember, rampant construction taking place even then. I was on the ground then, and we have images from that time as well. If they're ready, do please play them. But in the meantime, let me get in Professor Sati, who has, of course, been studying the area and making a very different argument from the one we've heard so far. Professor Sati, this is, of course, we're looking at the images of the forgotten devastation of 2021. And there have been many such moments in Uttarakhand. And many experts, many local residents have been protesting, not now, but for many, many years. And Himanshu says no one is ready to listen. As an expert, you've been making a very different argument. What is your argument? You're saying the construction, these big dam projects, these big hydropower projects have nothing to do with what's happening. I mean, this is a seismic zone. This is a denuded zone. It's in a landslide shadow. And even so, we are proceeding with projects on this scale. Professor Sati, it's over to you.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity to describe the geological aspect of this all phenomenon. Yes, you were talking about the hydropower projects. It has been a long debate. Now the paper have come in science and nature also. There are so many tremendous studies which categorically say that in the higher Himalaya, the hydropower projects are in a big risk. And they are in a risk. And due to those hydropower projects, the underlying population, the downstream population is also in the big risk. In 2021, there is a big paper in geoscience, Nature Geoscience. It also categorically says that. And several people, including the Ravi Chopra Committee of 2013, which was constituted by the direction of the Supreme Court after the 2013 disaster, that also categorically, with scientific arguments, with a very solid argument, they also recommended that in the higher Himalayan region, the hydropower project should be banned, blanket ban should be imposed on that. Because in the higher Himalaya, geologically, the higher Himalaya is the Himalaya which is in the north of the main central thrust.
So you believe the problem is the hydropower projects. What about the other projects?
No, it's not. You are particularly, you are asking about the projects. That's why I was.
Well, what do you think? What do you think?
As far as the Joshimath is concerned, it's not only hydropower projects. It is your growth model. It's not development. There is a difference between development and growth. Growth may be haphazard. Development should be focused, human oriented. There is no development as such. These are the growths. There's a mushrooming haphazard growth of the urban clusters. This is the growth of the big projects in form of the very unscientific construction of the roads itself. So there are so many things which are causing this.
And can I finally ask you, what about the tunnel, the NTPC tunnel itself?
Actually, when this 2021 tragedy of the Rishi Ganga, when it occurred, Just after a few months of that, these cracks were observed in this Joshimath area. The people are saying that there is some connection with the tunnel and these cracks which are being developed in the Joshimath area. Me and Dr. Injwal and Subra Sharma, we visited there on the request of the people who are agitating there for this issue. And on their request, we examined geologically that area and we prepared a report. But at that time, we could not establish the exact connection of this tunnel with this subsidence. But now, for last 1 week, there is tremendous water discharge suddenly in Marwadi in the downslope side of the Joshimath, and where now there is a question that where from this water is coming actually. It may be that percolation, the seepage, the leakage from that the tunnel which was under construction. It may be possible that water is percolating through the rocks and but at this point of time, let me complete. At this point of time, nobody is in position to say whether there is a direct connection of that or not.
I understand.
But only scientists can do this. There are methods. One can take the water sample of the tunnel and water sample of that discharge, which is recently observed there, and we can take those water samples. Can be tested, and isotope study can define.
You made a number of very important points. You've actually referred to reports that have called for a complete and total ban on hydropower projects in the area. I just want to get in a brief comment from Himanshu and Vaibhav before I go back to Garima ji and to Kishore ji. But Professor Sati spoke about the growth model. I remember driving through Uttarakhand when the last devastation happened, and I was just shocked at what just every few kilometers, the kind of construction. I mean, you wouldn't believe that this is a mountain face. These are some of the images from that. And this is what large parts of Uttarakhand today look like. Not like forest-covered mountains, but absolutely denuded. The construction is relentless. It's rampant. And it is literally, I mean, this is just off the road. You can see the JCBs are literally there every few kilometers. I brought those pictures up because there was a reference to this growth model. Vaibhav, as somebody who actually runs a kind of business out of the mountains, how do you reconcile the need to develop and grow the economy, but also conserving it? And are you seeing that followed in Uttarakhand or not at all? Vaibhav, first you and then Himanshu.
Barkha, I think everyone needs roads, everyone needs infrastructure, but I would say, Ghoshna se pehle gambhirta. That seems to be missing in terms of the planning of it. Sure, build your roads, sure, build your railways, but let's do our due diligence first. We understand that, and there's no point passing the buck or blaming some government or the other. I think Joshimath should be the last straw. It really is should be the end of the line in terms of just our learning. Nature's been teaching us. In 2013, we built a shanty town in Kedarnath, which was never supposed to be there. Whoever could walk to Kedarnath and back would do that. I mean, these things have grown over years, and there's been just no looking inwards. And like I said, Ghoshna se pehle gambhirta, the planning is absolutely essential.
Yeah. Himanshu, before I go back to Garima and Kishore ji, if you'd just like to come in, I mean, when Professor Sati shares the findings of many of those established reports now, kyun nahi koi sun raha hai? And each time, now Joshimath is, by the way, back in the court. But the court has not always stopped these construction projects. In fact, quite often it has given its green lighting to them. Today, again, you have a situation where all of these projects are halted. Chardham road opening रोक दी गई है, हिलांग पास पे काम रोक दिया गया है, और जो NTPC का हाइड्रो पावर प्रोजेक्ट है उस पे भी अभी टेम्पररी रोक लगाई है. हिमांशु,
ये रोक लगाई है, और लेकिन वास्तव में काम रुका है कि नहीं पता नहीं, क्योंकि भास्कर ने तो रिपोर्ट किया है कि कागज पे रुका हुआ है, वास्तव में चल रहा है काम. But as far as your question is concerned, to answer them briefly, two things. Unfortunately, our government is seeing environment impact assessment, social impact assessment, environment clearances as hindrance instead of an opportunity to decide what kind of development project should be taken up in a specific area, looking at the vulnerability of that area. So that's the role. The role of the environment impact assessment, social impact assessment, the public hearings, expert appraisal committee, and the project appraisal is to find alternatives and look at the best alternative in a given situation. Nobody is saying no development. But the point is what kind of development is required. That's an opportunity we are missing by calling all this is a hindrance and not doing any rigorous process. And secondly, our governance system has no place for learning lessons. 2013 was the biggest disaster of Uttarakhand. Have you seen a report which tells you what happened in that disaster? Which agencies played what role and what lessons we can learn? Have we seen a report of February 2021 which tells us same thing, or so many other disasters that has happened? Our system doesn't have a system in accountability in place to ensure that we learn lessons from past disasters and make corrective measures. Today, there is another opportunity. Climate change provided a major opportunity to us to make course correction. And today, again, we have an opportunity we may have to abandon this project and we should be ready for it. But we should be putting in place system where we can ensure that this kind of destructive projects don't get implemented.
Absolutely. Now, I don't know if the government would be willing at this point to walk away from this project, but you have said that it may have reached the point. Vaibhav also called Joshimath the last straw. Professor Sati said it's not just hydropower projects, but the entire growth model that is in fact flawed. In the meantime, think of villagers who are sleeping out in the cold, and you know how cold it is in our cities. Imagine how cold it must be up in the mountains. They're sleeping out in the cold because their homes are developing cracks, and they're angry. They're angry with officials, they're angry with politicians, and they're saying that basically officials are telling them कि भाई जब तक घर टूट ना जाए हमारे पास compensation के लिए मत आइए. Listen to one such angry villager.
सबसे बुरी कंडीशन थी मनोहर बाग के आपके पास आए और आपने क्या जवाब दिया? उत्तरा पांडे जी आई आपके पास और आपने क्या जवाब दिया? जब आपका छत नीचे गिर जाएगा तब आना और 5,000 रुपए लेके जाना. गलत बात कर रही है. नहीं, गलत बात. आपकी तरफ से बयान आए हैं मैडम. गलत बात. हम आपसे नहीं, ऐसा कभी नहीं मैंने कहा है. आप इस तरह किया. आप एक मेले की पीड़ा नहीं समझ पाई. आप तो
अच्छा अब ये समझ लीजिए, आपको कल मैं पीपल कोटी में हमारे हम नहीं, हम आपको आपको कल करा देंगे.
कल शिफ्ट करा देंगे आपको. अभी लेके जाइए आप. ठीक है.
So anger on the one hand and despair on the other. We'll play you other voices from the ground as well. किशोर जी, आप पे वापस आती हूँ. क्या होना चाहिए? क्या ये जो बड़े बड़े प्रोजेक्ट्स हैं, जो मैंने 3 प्रोजेक्ट्स का नाम दिया जिन पे अभी टेम्पररी रोक लगाई गई है, यहाँ पे हमारे जो एक्सपर्ट्स हैं वो कहते हैं इनको अब छोड़ देना चाहिए. इस स्केल पे आप नहीं कर सकते. एक सीज्मिक जोन, एक फ्रैजाइल हिमालयन इकोसिस्टम में इस तरह का काम. आप क्या इससे सहमत है किशोर?
Thank you very much indeed. Basically, I joined this discussion and I was keen to get some knowledge from Dr. S.P. Sati. He is very much concerned about the Himalayan issues and from Mr. Thakkar also. But I am sorry to say the way the Garima ji, उसको जो उन्होंने political एक color देने की कोशिश की, I think it's not good. I am not answering any political question because I am not at the moment from any political party.
Okay, but can you answer my question? My question is simply, should
just a second. Garima said that there is earlier there was an MLA of BJP, and before that who was there and who is there at present? She should answer all those questions. What I am saying, अभी जो है क्या करना चाहिए ये आपका सवाल है और मैं अगेन टाइम एंड अगेन for the development of middle Himalaya, including power projects and other things also. That is the basic question.
Yes, what is the answer?
Why my 72% land without any compensation, government taking away from us? You know, there was a committee, आपने उसका अध्ययन किया होगा, अभी सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने बनाई है, यहाँ एनवायरमेंटलिस्ट बैठे हुए हैं, उन्होंने कहा कि एक पेड़ जो है 75,000 रुपए का कंट्रीब्यूशन देता है. और
जी, आपका सिग्नल बहुत बढ़िया नहीं है, लेकिन मुझे लगता है कि हालांकि you don't want to speak as a BJP member, you are defending to whatever degree the BJP policy, but at the same time saying compensation packages are not enough. Garima, I'll let you respond, though we're really trying to avoid this descending into party politics, but go ahead, Garima.
किशोर जी के लिए तो मैंने कहा कि इन्होंने ठक्कर जी से सवाल पूछा था कि क्यों रेलवे लाइन से अफेक्ट पड़ेगा कर्णप्रयाग में। मैंने उसका जवाब दिया, मैंने इनके साथ कोई पॉलिटिकल वाद प्रतिवाद नहीं किया। जहां तक महेंद्र भट्ट की पोस्ट का सवाल है, वो किशोर जी भी मना नहीं कर सकते हैं कि पूरे कोरोना काल में महेंद्र भट्ट जी ने अपनी पार्टी की किरकिरी कराई। नो प्लीज लेट मी कंप्लीट किशोर जी. See, he has been my president. I have immense respect for him. But here it is a debate, so we just cannot compromise on that point. महेंद्र भट्ट जी ने पूरे कोरोना काल में पूरे प्रदेश में उनकी किरकिरी इस बात के लिए हुई कि आए दिन वो फेसबुक पोस्ट डाला करते थे और कहते थे कि नाई की दुकान पे हनुमान जी की फोटो देख कर जाना। इतना डिस्गस्टिंग और मेरे पास शब्द नहीं है कहने के लिए कि महेंद्र भट्ट जी की मानसिकता पर उस वक्त हमें तरस आता था। आज today is the first day state president of BJP, Mr. Mahendra Bhatt, who was the MLA from that region.
Are we talking about Mahendra Bhatt?
Please,
or are we talking about Joshimath?
No, we have to talk. See, I'm from a political party.
Your husband was posted here.
No,
earlier,
you can't allow him to heckle me like this. I have to complete my point.
Please don't shout. One at a time. गरिमा, आप अपनी बात खत्म करिए, उसके बाद किशोर जी you can respond. चलिए गरिमा जल्दी से।
लोगों ने यहाँ पर सवाल उठाए कि सरकारें आ रही हैं, जा रही हैं। किशोर जी ने कहा उससे पहले कौन था और आज का विधायक क्या कर रहा है। These signs of the cracks have been coming since 1.5 years ago. 2021 के नवंबर से ये क्रैक्स आने शुरू हो गए थे। मेरे अभी वर्तमान विधायक हैं, 1.5 महीने पहले राजेंद्र भंडारी जो कि बद्रीनाथ से विधायक हैं कांग्रेस के, वो आए यहाँ पर, उन्होंने प्रेस वार्ता की और मुख्यमंत्री से मिलने का समय मांगा। ही इज हेडिंग द जोशीमठ बचाओ संघर्ष समिति। Since 45 days, Rajendra Bhandari is sleeping on the roads, ma'am, and taking out Mashal Jalus and Andolan. And today is the first day, mark my words, today is the first day when the state president of BJP has visited Joshimath, despite being the chosen MLA from 2017
Garima,
we don't want development at the cost of our people and their ecosystem, ma'am. I want to say that the signs have been emerging since 1.5 years now. What was this party doing?
Okay, I think you made your point.
I want to make a point regarding Manmohan Singh ji here. 2005, उससे पहले जब आपदा आती थी देश के अंदर, तो आपदा के आने के बाद रेस्क्यू कार्य होते थे, रिहैबिलिटेशन कार्य होते थे। ये मनमोहन सिंह की सरकार है जो कि MDMA लाई, यानी कि आपदा प्रबंधन अधिनियम लाई, और उन्होंने आपदा विभाग बनाए राज्य में और जिलों में।
Now let this not become a conversation that's hijacked by Congress BJP politics. You made your point. I'll allow Kishore ji to respond, and then we have to go back to the others for final comments. Kishore ji, बोलिए।
मैं ज्यादा समय नहीं लूंगा बरखा जी। मेरा कहना यह है, आपने गरिमा जी ने मेरे मन में बहुत रिस्पेक्ट है मनमोहन सिंह जी के प्रति, लेकिन जब हिमालयन इश्यूज पर मैं और सुंदरलाल बहुगुणा जी से उनसे मिलने गए तो उन्होंने 5 मिनट का भी समय स्पेयर नहीं किया। मैं उस पर नहीं जा रहा हूं। मैं ये कह रहा हूं कि देखिए, कहा जाता था ना कि भारत सोने की चिड़िया थी। मैं एक बात कहना चाहता हूं कि हिमालय और गंगा दोबारा भारत को सोने की चिड़िया, इस जो क्लाइमेट चेंज और ग्लोबल वार्मिंग वाला मसला है उस पर बना सकती है। और आपको एक अवसर मिला है जोशीमठ, वहां लोग बहुत परेशानी में हैं, उनकी परेशानियां दूर होनी चाहिए, लेकिन मिडिल हिमालय के जो इश्यूज हैं वो कम से कम उन सरोकारों पर आप बात कर सकते हैं और उनको ठीक कर सकते हैं। और मैं पुनः जो है कह रहा हूं कि मध्य हिमालय के लिए एक सतत समावेशी विकास की नीति है जिसमें की जरूरत है, जिसमें ये सारी चीजें इंक्लूड होनी चाहिए, सम्मिलित होनी चाहिए। मेरा कहना ये है,
और इसीलिए कांग्रेस पार्टी ने हाई पावर कमेटी कॉन्स्टिट्यूट की है।
अभी
किशोर जी को शायद पता नहीं है, कांग्रेस की पूरी लीडरशिप प्रदेश की वहां पर पहुंची हुई है। We are keeping a track of the relief. We are keeping a track of the damage done. We are keeping a track of the relief.
Enough.
We have already constituted a high.
Garima, bas, hold on. We now need to hear the others speak. You both made your points. Before I take final comments from my experts, and I want to come to Professor Sati next, there's anger on the one hand, but there's despair. Remember, people being evacuated. No one wants to actually leave their homes. They don't want to live in camps. They don't want to live in camps at the height of winter. Here's one such impacted victim of what's happening in Joshimath, in Rishikesh, or the areas around it, in Uttarkashi, talking to my colleague Harshit on the ground.
अब करना क्या चाहते हो? अब सरकार के काम है। हम तो बहुत प्रॉब्लम है। जब सीबीडी ने रैली आए यहाँ, और सीबीडी में बहुत परेशान है हम, है ना। हम तो यहाँ ही रहना है, यहाँ हमारे घर रहे, हमारे कहीं नहीं है घर, ना घर रहे ना ज़मीन है, यहाँ हमारे ज़मीन है। हम बहुत परेशान हैं वो सीबीडी, 2-3 साल हो गए ना, परेशान है बेटा हम बहुत। हाँ,
कहते हैं घर आदमी बहुत मेहनत भर की कमाई से ज़िंदगी भर की से बनाता है।
मेहनत से सिर में दर दर कर मट्टी, ये मट्टी ले आए हम, पत्थर ले आए, पत्थर से है हमारे पड़े ये मकान, ईंट नहीं है, पत्थर से है। बहुत परेशान है हम। सरकार तो अपने जगह में है, हम लोग अपने जगह में, गरीब लोग हैं हम। हमारे तक यही है ज़मीन, यही तो हमारे जायदाद है, यही हमारे सब कुछ है, हम गरीब लोग हैं।
यही हमारा सब कुछ है, हम गरीब लोग हैं। Professor Sati, as science evolves, as research evolves, what would you advise the government to do with these 3 major giant projects that are right now temporarily on hold? Do you agree with Himanshu that the time may have come to at least review the hydropower project and maybe walk away from it? Can we unmute Professor Sati, please? Sir, you're muted at your end. Can you unmute yourself?
Okay.
Yeah.
As far as this hydropower project is concerned, before that, I would like to make here a point. It doesn't matter which government is there. The developmental model is generally same. 19-20 का फर्क होता है, otherwise same है. So it's not the blame game actually. Developmental model is so faulty actually.
Sati ji, I differ. All weather road इसने नहीं बनाई। ऑल वेदर रोड अगले 10 साल के लिए डिजास्टर है पहाड़ों के लिए, आप ये जान लीजिए।
नहीं, या तो हमको मत बोलने दीजिए। देखिए गर्मा जी, ये गलत बात है। देखिए हमें अपने पॉइंट भरना है।
फिर आप दोनों
हाइड्रोपावर प्रोजेक्ट टिहरी डैम किसने बनाया, या किसी बनाया? डेवलपमेंटल मॉडल की बात हो रही है, तो ये नहीं कि प्रोजेक्ट की बात हो रही है, किसी स्पेसिफिक प्रोजेक्ट की बात नहीं हो रही है। We are talking about developmental model. Developmental model means something different. I should make my point as an expert.
Yes, please do.
But you cannot do it.
Please do, sir. Please do.
मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि डाउन द ईयर्स हमारी समझदारी साइंस के बारे में बढ़ी है। आपको बताऊं कि डीपीआर कैसे बनती है। मैं एक एग्जांपल, आई वांट टू कोट हियर एन एग्जांपल कि ऋषिकेश से बद्रीनाथ वाली 4 धाम जो रोड परियोजना है, उसके लिए डीपीआर की कंपनी बनाई गई, एक कंपनी को दिया गया, वो गुड़गांव में बैठती है। तो 2011 में हमारा पेपर छपा था करंट साइंस में। 2010 में बहुत बड़ी आपदा आई थी, 3rd वीक ऑफ सितंबर। उस पे हमने इस रोड का एक बहुत सुपरफिशियल, बहुत प्रिलिमिनरी एक मार्कर बताए थे कि यहाँ पे वो यहाँ पे अनस्टेबल जोन्स हैं, ये सब कुछ है। आपको ताजुब होगा कि जिस डीपीआर पे ये रोड बनाई जा रही है, श्रीनगर टू ऋषिकेश टू बद्रीनाथ, उसमें हमारे उस पेपर का वो मैप उठा के, विदाउट कोटिंग अवर नेम, वो मैप उठा के वहां लगा दिया गया और वो डीपीआर तैयार हो गया और उन्होंने सेंसिटिव जोन भी मार्क कर दिए। अपन तो ये है कि उसमें एक आधी स्पेलिंग मिस्टेक थी, वो स्पेलिंग मिस्टेक भी वैसी की वैसी रहनी थी। So this is the way how the DPR has prepared. So it's a question of developmental model. It's not a question of combination.
So what should happen now, sir? That was my question. What should happen now?
Now the only thing, the lesson, what Himanshu said, that the only question we can learn from Joshimath is, first, there are dozens of towns in the hills which are on the verge of same condition, same fate. We can study this Joshimath. Nobody can save most of the part of the Joshimath now. Joshimath is
nobody can save
not
Joshimath.
Not at all. Scientists doesn't cause any miracle. It is going down now. Now that time has gone. There were so many researches, there were so many recommendations, nobody followed them. Now the whole slope is going down. Nobody has something very जादू की छड़ी नहीं है कि कहीं से रोक के और उसको रोक दे, वो जा रहा है जहां तक जाएगा। उसके बाद क्या होगा कि जितना बच जाता है तब उसके लिए जियो इंजीनियरिंग मेजर्स कर सकते हैं, लेकिन इसकी मल्टी डिसिप्लिनरी स्टडी होनी चाहिए। और इस स्टडी के बेसिस पे जिस तरह के टाउन्स और हैं जो इसी वर्ष पे हैं, ये इफेक्ट होने वाला है, चाहे वो गोपेश्वर है, चाहे अगस्त मुनि है, चाहे गुप्त काशी है, चाहे जोशीमठ ऊखीमठ है, चाहे भटवाड़ी है, चाहे धारचूला है, चाहे मुंशियारी है, चाहे गोपे पौड़ी है, देयर आर नैनीताल है, देयर आर सो मेनी टाउन्स आर देयर ऑन सेम वर्ज। मैं ये कह रहा हूं कि इस स्टडी के बेसिस पे एक लर्निंग लेसन लेके एक बड़ा मैसिव प्रोग्राम बनाया जाना चाहिए कि किस तरह से इन टाउनशिप्स को जो मशरूम्ड हुए हैं बिना अनसाइंटिफिक, बहुत ही अनसाइंटिफिक तरीके से, ड्रेनेज का कुछ नहीं है, कंस्ट्रक्शन के लिए कोई लिमिट नहीं है, नोबडी।
सती जी उसमें क्या शिमला शामिल नहीं होना चाहिए?
शिमला भी
शामिल नहीं होना चाहिए?
शिमला इज आल्सो देयर,
श्रीनगर भी शामिल होना चाहिए?
I was talking about Uttarakhand. Shimla is there, Dharamshala is there, Darjeeling is there. Several townships, northeast के कई townships हैं, जहाँ हमारे पास 2 ही township थे जिन पे कि थोड़ा बहुत ड्रेनेज का बहुत शानदार ब्रिटिशर्स ने बनाया था, नैनीताल और शिमला। डाउन द ईयर्स हमने क्या किया?
सर आपने एक बात रखी कि nobody can save Joshimath now. What is the timeline you're talking about? What is the timeline?
Now nobody can say this. Actually, the whole slope is draining, subsiding down. I don't know up to which extent this will. Nobody can say.
This is scary. This is very, very scary. This is
very scary. So sad part of this story is that nobody can save Joshimath. Most of the part nobody can save. This is the harsh truth. अरे भैया जब आग लगी तब कुआं नहीं खुदते हैं, ये पहले से होना चाहिए था। मिश्रा की कमेटी थी, उसके बाद उससे पहले
आपने बिल्कुल ठीक बोला, आपने बिल्कुल ठीक बोला कि जब आग लगती है तो तब फायर चलाने का कोई बहुत ही कम फायदा होता है। वैभव, वेरी क्विकली एंड देन आई विल गिव हिमांशु द लास्ट वर्ड। वैभव।
बरखा जी, मैं ये कहना चाहूँगा, मैं पहाड़ी हूँ, मैंने पहाड़ में 31 साल काम किया है और ये जनरेशन से मार्जिनलाइज्ड पॉपुलेशन है। किस कॉस्ट पे क्या रेल, क्या हाइड्रो, ये किस काम आएगी जब विस्थापित होना पड़ेगा लोगों को? ये रेल किसके लिए बन रही है, ये हाईवे किसके लिए बन रहे हैं, कैरिंग कैपेसिटी, यस, यू नो, दीज आर ऑल फ्रेजेस दैट यू नो इट्स लाइक अ कैच ऑल। बट ये सब्सिडेंस जो है, ये जो घरों की दीवारों में दरारें पड़ रही हैं, ये वही मैं कह रहा था, जोशीमठ में ही नहीं है, ये सब जगह हो रहा है। टेहरी में 17 गाँव हैं जहाँ सब्सिडेंस हो रही है, उसके बारे में बात नहीं करता क्योंकि हमारी आवाज नहीं है। देयर इज नो वॉइस विद द पीपल ऑफ गढ़वाल। इट इज processes are shoved down valleys and rivers and you know, I'll tell you, the Indian Railway, it's the biggest employer in the world. One would imagine them to be evolved even after all this, after Joshimath threatens to fall off into the Alaknanda. Today afternoon they are still dynamiting 2 kilometers from here, tunneling away, completing their job. So, you know, it comes back to the same thing. Where is the learning going to start?
Absolutely.
Where are we going to call it a stop?
I'm at the end of the program, but I'll give Himanshu a quick last word. Himanshu, dire forecast by Professor Sati and Vaibhav confirming that, you know, while projects are supposed to not be, there's supposed to be no activity, it's taking place 2 kilometers from where he is on another project, of course.
Can I please quit? Can I please quit? I have to go somewhere else.
Yes, thank you, Professor Sati. We're ending as well. Thank you, sir. Himanshu, quick last word. Yes.
Yeah, I think what Professor Sati says is right. I also said in the beginning, we have reached an irreversible situation in Joshimath. And what is required now immediately and very honestly is to declare, no less than from the Prime Minister, that we will stop these projects. Firstly, we will set up an independent committee, not the Sarkari officials committee, because the Sarkari officials committee will go along the Sarkari lines. We need independent experts like Sati Saab and others. There are a number of them, multidisciplinary committee, which will firstly go into these projects around Joshimath to see what needs to be done. And secondly, there should also be a larger policy making process restarted for Uttarakhand and other Himalayan regions. So all of this needs to start from the Prime Minister, no less.
Yeah, we need to hear from the Prime Minister is what Himanshu Thakkar is saying. Sorry, Garima, completely out of time. Vaibhav, Kishore ji,
no,
Garima
I just want the Prime Minister to declare it as a national disaster or calamity. He has to announce it.
Okay, and that is something I think we would all agree with. Thank you so much to all of you. What a dire forecast. The thought of Joshimath sinking, which all of our experts on this program are saying is now an irreversible process. The religious sanctity, the strategic significance, but also think of the poor people whose lives are actually caught in the crossfire of politics, of warning signals ignored, and of being neglected, I think, as Vaibhav said. Thank you, and to our audience for watching. See you soon. It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Watch Her Story and support independent, robust journalism.